Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
The great hurricane that struck Galveston at the turn of the last century will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm B.J. Williams. Anna Meyers will tell us about her book, Stolen from the Sea. Susie Beasley will talk with Phil Taubert. Kids Corner will feature Sally Ziegler-Hill. We also have Doug Benton, Clyde Martin, and Karen Fight. Coming up, Anna Meyers.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
Anna Meyers is an Oklahoma writer of children's books. She is an award-winning writer, and I caught her a couple of weeks ago and asked her about her latest book, Stolen from the Sea. I think you'll find interesting what she had to say. Anna, your latest book, Stolen by the Sea, is actually set during the Galveston hurricane. What inspired you to write a book about that?
Actually, after the adult book, Isaac Storm, came out, which was about the hurricane, my editor called me and asked me if I would consider doing a children's book about the Galveston hurricane. And at the time I told her no, because my husband, who died 3 years ago, had started one, and I didn't feel that I wanted to do that subject. But after a visit to Galveston, I have dear friends who live there, and I spend some time with them. And after a visit there, I called her and said, yes, I would do it.
Okay. Now, did you have to do a lot of research for this?
I did. I spent quite a lot of time in Galveston, and I had a friend who borrowed a wonderful book from me. And it was published in 1900, right after the storm, which was in September, so it was very quick publishing. And it had first-person accounts from the survivors, and I used so much of what real people endured for my characters.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a fascinating story. It takes I believe she's 12 years old, isn't
yes.
she, our main character? And she's got problems that really have nothing to do with the hurricane, doesn't she?
Yes, she feels that her father prefers boys, and she feels insecure because another child is expected, and also because her father pays so much attention to the young boy from St. Mary's Orphanage who works in their garden. And there was really a St. Mary's Orphanage there. 93 orphans lived there with 10 sisters who cared for them. And the sisters tied the children to them with ropes in an effort to save their lives. 90 of the 93 orphans perished, and all of the nuns.
But in the book?
In the book, my characters survive. And I tell children that this is a book about death and destruction, but it's also a book about survival, and we all have to learn to survive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and your main character is working on that. What I found fascinating about her was that she recognized that she was having these problems. I think so many of us go along and we're mad about this, or we keep doing something and we can't quite figure out why, and yet she is aware enough of what she's doing herself, and is really trying with some success to work on this little snit that she's throwing.
Maggie knows that she should not have these feelings of jealousy, and she tries to overcome them.
Mm-hmm. And actually does it. I thought she was doing a pretty good job even before the hurricane happened, but that is really a life-altering event, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it has left an impression on Galveston, even after all these years. You don't spend any time in Galveston without hearing about the 1900 hurricane.
Mm-hmm. Did you have an actual location for her house?
In my mind, I put her house where my friends live. I have friends who own a home there that did actually survive the hurricane, but other houses on their street were destroyed. And so in my mind, I put her house next to theirs.
Mm-hmm. And you used in the book, now Maggie and Felipe end up in the house with the housekeeper who is dying. She's very old. Her mom and dad are on the mainland. And now they chopped holes in the floors. Was that something that
They
people
did.
did?
They really chopped holes in the floor so that the water would come up and anchor the house rather than beat against it from the outside.
And sometimes that worked, and sometimes it didn't.
Yes.
So that's well, as you said, it's a story about death, but it's also a story about survival. Maggie and Felipe do make it through, partly because they are really such strong characters.
They are determined.
And really ready to do anything they have to survive.
That's right.
Now, this book is for, you were telling me, middle school?
Middle grade readers.
Middle grade readers.
I would say maybe 4th through 8th grade or 3rd through 8th grade, depending on how mature a child is. But it's not really difficult reading.
Well, it's very enjoyable reading. You say it's not difficult, but I found myself enjoying it very much. You get into the characters and are feeling with them and seeing what they're seeing. And I found the hurricane very frightening, I've got to tell you. I was pretty worried there for a while. But I thought you did a great job of,
thank you.
Of creating that.
Thank you.
Now, are you working on another book?
I'm doing the revisions for a book that will be out next September. It's for a little bit older readers, aimed more at junior high. It is set in 1921, right outside of Tulsa, and it deals with the race riots in Tulsa.
So you're really working on stuff that I guess kids need to take a look at, start thinking about really before they, all of a sudden you're adult and now you have to think about adult subjects.
I definitely think that children can handle and need to handle serious issues because they handle them every day.
Now, I think most of us think of children as having this innocent, nothing happening kind of life, but if we think back on our own childhoods, we realize that not only sometimes things that happen to us, but things that happen to our friends are real, they can be deadly and be quite serious. And it's always, I found always very comforting to be able to read a book and find out that that's the sort of thing other people have coped with and somehow have survived.
That's right. Children are not isolated in our world, and I don't think they need to be.
I don't think they ever have been, frankly. No. I think they've always had to live with us in the real world.
That's right.
We have just a couple of minutes. Do you choose an age when you're writing a book? Do you go into it saying, I've got to write for this age group, or is it something that's more connected with the subject?
I think it's more connected with the subject. The character's age determines somewhat the readership, and my characters come to me with a name and with an age, and then I write their story, and someone else decides who it's really for.
Well, I think, as we said when we're discussing, that depends on the individual. There are guidelines there.
That's right. It depends a lot on the child.
But you need to know, if your child is going to be comfortable with that subject.
That's right.
So, well, I want to thank you very much for being with us, Anna. I hope you'll come back when your next book comes out in September of 2002.
I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you. We've had with us Anna Meyers telling us about Stolen from the Sea. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore. Coming up next, we have Susie Beasley and Phil Talbert, and Phil has a CD just for the season.
Phil, what can you tell us about this CD, Arthur's Perfect Christmas?
Well, this is a compilation of Christmas music, both from the program Arthur's Perfect Christmas on the WPG, the TV series, the PBS type thing.
Right.
And also it has Christmas carols, traditional and some modern things, and it's just a very good variety of holiday music.
And so what are some of the special features about this particular CD?
It has songs from around the world. A lot of, there's several things from Hanukkah. There's a special song on Kwanzaa, and then there are songs that are in Italian, Swedish song in there. There's just a variety of different languages, and they are translated in both languages.
Right, yeah, it has a little manual that comes with it.
Yes, it has a manual which has all the words in both languages, whichever the native language is, as well as in English. Right,
Well,
right.
this is really something else. And this particular one came out in
It was in 2000, yes.
Okay.
It's pretty new.
So what other Christmas or holiday compact discs do we have in the system?
We have a wide variety of items in the library system. I've brought some along with me today. I've got one Mel Torme, Christmas, Chanticleer. There's Whitney Houston in The Preacher's Wife, the soundtrack from the musical, and just a wide variety of things. We also have audio tapes for those who don't have the CD players yet in the library, library customers. So we have a good variety of things that people can select from. I think if you're looking for jazz or classical or country or gospel or whatever style of music that you're looking for,
Kind of
we've
easy
got it.
listening Christmas.
Absolutely. Good variety.
Good variety.
To supplement your holiday activities.
Kind of complete too.
Right.
And the compact discs that we have in system, they check out for
2 weeks.
for 2 weeks, just
Yes.
like the regular books and everything.
Correct.
Now, getting back to Arthur and this PBS Kids special, kind of give, when you listened to it, did it bring back any memories of your Christmas time?
Sure. It was a lot of fun listening to some of those songs. Some of the new ones were fun, and the older ones, the ones that have been around for a long time, I was very impressed with the style that they used. They put some different jazzy beats to some of the songs, which gave it kind of a new flavor, which I really liked. I thought that was a nice feature, and I'm always looking for new styles. So it's
And this
good.
will be a good learning experience and learning tool for the children
Yes.
because of the different languages that are in.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, Phil, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us this compact disc, Arthur's Perfect Christmas, and this compact disc is available at the local library and at your local video or music store. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
There are millions of websites on the internet, more than 800 million web pages, and thousands of search engines. It's easy to get lost unless you start at metrolibrary.org. Renew your books, browse the catalog, search a database, check movie listings, or even your horoscope. At metrolibrary.org, you'll find the perfect place to start your web journey. A family-friendly site redesigned to meet your needs. Sure, you could cruise the other 799 million web pages, but why?
I have a couple of books I think you'll find interesting. This first one is The Incredible Internet Guide to Pop Music. It's by James R. Flowers, Jr. Now, at the close of the year 2000, Yahoo and Lycos released the items that were most searched for on the Internet. Britney Spears turned out to be the top item. NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys also appeared on the top 10 of these lists. Instead of cutting out pictures and hanging them on the wall and avidly reading fan magazines, today's pop music fans are searching the internet for all kinds of things. They are also writing articles, compiling facts, sharing gossip online. They're crowding chat rooms, launching mailing lists, and creating their very own fan fiction. And the Incredible Internet Guide to Pop Music will help you jump right into the fray. If you want Madonna electronic greeting cards, Eminem discussion groups, or share wallpaper, that's a frightening thought, you can find it in this book. Over 3,000 websites are listed, official email addresses, official websites, links, photo galleries, TV schedules, wallpapers, facts, merchandise, you name it, you can find it in this book. Audio sites, reference links, lyrics, etc. There are groups such as 98 Degrees, Bork, Christian Aguilera, Will Smith. You can tell how familiar I am with pop music these days. Lenny Kravitz, Smashing Pumpkins, etc. If you know someone who's into pop music, this is a book that will help launch them on their happy way on the internet. This next book is First Crossing, Alexander Mackenzie, His Expedition Across North America, and the Opening of the Continent by Derek Hayes. Now, most Americans, when asked who first crossed the North American continent, would probably reply Lewis and Clark. Well, you would be wrong. Our neighbor to the north, our best friend up there, Canada, has the honor in one of its very own. Alexander Mackenzie, a Scot, was actually the first one to cross, and he beat Lewis and Clark by 12 years. In fact, the maps that he made and the journals, which are now lost, that he wrote, helped Lewis and Clark have an idea of what they were looking for and where to go find it. Now, Mackenzie was a partner in a fur company called the Northwest Company, and they were in competition with the fabled Hudson Bay Company, which shipped to Europe through the Hudson Bay, and the Northwest Company had to go into Montreal and then try to find their way to Europe. So he was looking for a commercially viable route the other way. If he could find a riverway to the Pacific Ocean that they could float the furs down, then they could compete fairly easily with Hudson Bay. And so that was the commercial impulse for what he did. Mackenzie apparently was also just an explorer. He really truly wanted to know what was on the other side of the hill or around the next bend. He paddled and trekked 4,000 miles to find the tidewater of the Pacific. He spent several years planning and poring over what passed for maps at that time in order to begin his voyage. He established for the first time the relationship of the riverways and the lakes to the Pacific area. And he failed in actually finding a commercial route for the Northwest Company, but he added immeasurably to our knowledge of the geography of our continent. I think you'll enjoy First Crossing by Derek Hayes. Coming up next, we have Kids Corner. Kelly Rhea will be talking with Shelley Ziegler-Hill about a book just for our kids.
Hi, with the holiday season coming up, we have a beautiful book to talk about today that you may want to get. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
What did you bring today?
I brought The Little Wizard, which is actually a picture book, but it actually has a lot of text, so it's not your traditional picture book. And it is about a young boy, and his mother is ill, and he has to go find this magic potion to save her. So he goes into the woods and the mountains, and he meets up with all these wizards and trolls and witches, and along the way he finds a magic coat. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
So if you like that fantasy world where there are wizards and witches and spells and the magic of belief, this is a good book for that.
I think it is a good book, especially with the whole Harry Potter craze going on right now with the film out. I think this would be a good way for children who may not quite grasp the Harry Potter books and may not understand it. This would be a good way to introduce them to some fantasy.
Wonderful.
It has a lot of pictures as well. It is heavy in text, but it also has a lot of beautiful pictures where I think a parent or a teacher could also just tell the story just by talking about the pictures in there.
That's a nice alternative.
Yes, I
when
think
you
so.
have a book that does have a lot of text, you do, as a parent, have the option to shorten it, to let it be part of the kid's story as they point out, where's the troll? You know, and these pictures are very friendly.
Exactly. I think that will keep the child's attention as well, because sometimes if you have long text, they get bored easily. So this way you can just tell the story also by the photographs.
So is this book then appropriate for all ages? Is it?
I don't know. I think it's kind of it is a picture book. So I would say maybe 6 to 9, but you could also read it to a younger child, like I said, by just pointing out the photographs and telling the story that way. But the illustrations I really like, because again they span 2 pages, which I just love that, because it really...
We like that.
I do. I just think it's so vibrant, and the kids really like that. The big, bold, and I think these are watercolors as well. Yeah.
Well, the characters have big, sympathetic eyes. They look warm and friendly, and I see fairies and mice. It looks like maybe the boy has a cat.
He does have a cat, yes, that's right.
So there's a lot.
It's not like a scary fantasy book, so it is appropriate for younger children.
It's fun, it's adventurous, and I think that the whole family would even enjoy reading this.
This book is the second in a series, actually.
Oh,
it's called the Dragonfire Trilogy.
The Dragonfire Trilogy.
And the first one was called Dragon, and now the second one is called Little Wizard. And I don't think the third one has come out yet.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we know that you will love this book. It's called The Little Wizard, and it's by Jody Bergsma, and you can find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
Thanks, Kelly and Shelley. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with number 10 on hardback fiction, The Best Loved Poems of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, selected by Caroline Kennedy, The Mitford Snowman by Jan Karan, Jackdaws by Ken Follett, The Corrections by Jonathan Franzen, Last Man Standing by David Baldacci, Desecration by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins, He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Mary Higgins Clark and Carol Higgins Clark, Journey Through Heart Songs, written and illustrated by Maddie Stepanek. Number 2 is Violets Are Blue by James Patterson, and number 1 is John Grisham's Skipping Christmas. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is When Character Was King by Peggy Noonan, New York, September 11 by Magnum Photographers, Christmas in Plains by Jimmy Carter, One Nation by the Editors of Life, The Universe in a Nutshell by Stephen Hawking, Theodore Rex by Edmund Morris, Jack, Straight from the Gut by Jack Welch with John Byrne, The Final Days by Barbara Olson, number 2 is John Adams by David McCullough, and number 1 is Bill O'Reilly's The No Spin Zone. On the children's list, number 10 is The Sorcerer's Companion by Alan Zola Kronzek and Elizabeth Kronzek, Sealed with a Kiss by Judy Katchke, Critics Through the Ages by Kenilworthy Wisp, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander, The Case of the Jingle Bell Jinx by Alice Leonhardt, Captain Underpants and the Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman by Dav Pilkey, Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul on Tough Stuff, compiled by Canfield, Hansen, and Kerberger, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, number 2 is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and number 1 is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Coming up next, we have Doug Benton from the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. He'll be talking with that renowned radio opera host and actor, Clyde Martin.
Thank you, BJ. Doug, I see you have a book called Beyond Popcorn, A Critic's Guide to Looking at Films.
Yes, it's by Robert Glatzer, who is a film reviewer in Oregon, I think. He's not from one of the major outlets, so people won't be familiar with his name. And this is a very short book, but it's kind of an introduction to film 101 sort of thing, as he tells you what movie reviewers look for and look at when they're watching films for the first time. There's a chapter here, for instance, called How a Critic's Brain Works. Okay, I'm going to let you say it. Go ahead.
Well,
Take it.
tell me, how does a critic's brain work?
Assuming that it does at all.
Yes.
What you look for, directorial touches. He talks about camera angles. He talks about set design. The sort of things that most people see when they watch, but they're not aware of when they watch movies. And so he talks about those things. And I think that's pretty straightforward, and he does a good job of that, I think. Where the book gets a little contentious, as far as I'm concerned, is at the end, when he has lists of those movies that everybody must see before they die. His choices of some of the great films. And I look at them and I scratch my head over some of them. I just can't understand where the guy is coming from. He chooses his examples not only from the classic films, but also from some contemporary things, the sort of stuff that's, playing on cable all the time.
Yeah.
So when he talks about foreign films, for instance, he not only talks about Fellini and Bergman and the big names of the past, he also talks at great length, really, about a recent German film called Run, Lola, Run,
Yes.
which I have not seen.
Oh, I have. It's good.
Is it good?
Yes.
Well, you
Yes.
agree with him on that?
Yes.
Then. So he does that sort of thing, which I think is good for people who haven't had the chance to see some of the older films, some of the classic ones yet. But his choice for the best musical of all time.
Now,
You want to try it? You want to try? What would your choice be?
well, probably one of the Astaire Rogers things.
Okay, he has a great deal of respect for them, but he doesn't think the films are very good. So they don't make his list. He picks Singin' in the Rain
Oh, of
as
course,
the greatest.
Of course.
But his second choice is a movie called The Commitments, which I'm not familiar with. Apparently it's about an Irish cover band. It's a fairly recent film, and I thought, the second? greatest musical of all time.
gosh.
So I wondered about that. And some genres that are dear to my heart, like horror movies, he doesn't even bother to include. And he puts some directors on a higher level than I would. But those are kind of quibbles. And in a way, it's kind of nice in a book like this because it does make you think, which is what criticism was all about anyway. Not so much telling you what to think, but encouraging you to do some thinking for yourself. And Glatzer does that with, as I say, some what I would consider fairly outlandish pronouncements.
Well,
about,
as we
about
frequently
greatness.
say in the theater, everybody's a critic.
Very true.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Thanks, Doug and Clyde. When we come back in just a moment, I'll be talking with Karen Fite of the Oklahoma Department of Libraries.
There are millions of websites on the internet, more than 800 million web pages, and thousands of search engines. It's easy to get lost unless you start at metrolibrary.org. Renew your books, browse the catalog, search a database, check movie listings, or even your horoscope. At metrolibrary.org, you'll find the perfect place to start your web journey. A family-friendly site redesigned to meet your needs. Sure, you could cruise the other 799 million web pages, but why?
Karen works with the Oklahoma Department of Libraries, and she concentrates particularly on government information. And earlier, Karen, we were talking about the fact that actually the federal government has withdrawn a fair amount of information from the internet recently, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. In response to the terrorist attack, quite a few sites like the USGS took down some maps and various things. I'm hoping that this trend will stop and reverse itself because I think a lot of the information is already out there, and it's important that it stays out there.
Mm-hmm. Now, actually what you have quite often talked about when you come and visit us is how people can get information on the internet, obviously. I'm assuming that there is still some information out there.
Yes, there's a great deal. In fact, one of the most touted sites, www.firstgov.gov, is going to be revamped yet again, and they're hoping to add a lot of features to make it easy for ordinary persons to use, taking the approach again that the government information could be divided by subject as opposed to you worrying about what agency is responsible for whatever.
Oh, I can see how that would give you an incredible nightmare. It might even fry your brain trying to figure it
Yes,
out.
it is a pretty daunting task.
So I'm thinking that if you wanted to answer a question about corn, you could probably go to the Department of Agriculture, but it would be a lot easier to just go to the subject corn, wouldn't it? So, well, if we run into things, to problems like that before they get this revamped, and sometimes when we're not even sure what sort of website we're supposed to look at, the Oklahoma Department of Libraries actually can help us out a little bit, can't it?
Yes, if you go to our website, which is www.odl.state.ok.us, kind of a long one, we have a section of U.S. government information, and we've taken the various federal websites and looked at the sort of the cream of the crop and have put those links on our site.
So if we can get to Department of Libraries, then they can assist us to get to really the most useful government sites.
Right, we do that as well as OSU and OU have areas that help with that too.
Okay, so there's a lot of help out there when we're terribly, terribly confused, and,
Right.
and we know the information is there. I think that's the big problem with the internet, don't you?
It is quite often, yes.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, Karen, for being with us and telling us, giving us a little bit of a help on navigating our way. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
And remember, another way that you can approach all of this information is go to the Metropolitan Library System's website at www.metrolibrary.org. This site will link you to a great deal of information on the web. It will also tell you where all of our libraries are, their addresses, phone numbers, operating hours, give you information on all the programs that are going on at these various libraries. You can also access our catalog of materials, find out what we've got in holding, put things on reserve, and we will actually send your items to your very own favorite library for you. Lots of things to be found at the Metropolitan Library System's website. Check us out. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.